Well, hello everyone. Welcome to my FCC talk. Hey there, guys. How's everyone doing? Still okay? This is the last day of FCC. Can I get a hey-o? Yes, we're still awake. Nice. Nobody fell asleep during the long talk of Vitalik, or everyone still made it? All right. Thank you for coming to my talk. I'm Brinkkemper. I'm a product manager at oasis.app. And formerly we were a team within the Maker Foundation, but last year in June we split off as oasis.app and are now our own separate company. The clickbaity title, why you are all here, is why your yield is not sustainable. And I'm wondering how many degens there are in the room. I see hands going up already, so that's good. So at oasis.app, I'll first just introduce what we're doing so you have a little bit of context. And we want to be the most trusted place to deploy your capital into DeFi. And we're doing that right now with the Maker protocol, but we're also expanding beyond that to be more access, so that you can access more DeFi protocols through the most secure UI. And connecting it all together, earning yield in one position while borrowing it from another position, for example, and taking the yield spread, things like that. So we're thinking about yield a lot and how to do that in a safe way, because as trust is at our core, you don't want users to run away from you after they've just earned a negative yield. At the moment, right now, what you can do on oasis.app is you come with some of the top tokens in the space. At the moment, those are just the ones from the Maker protocol, which you can, for example, just use the vanilla functionality, which is just borrowing DAI. So you put your tokens up for collateral, you borrow some DAI, you pay back the DAI after you're done with whatever you want to do with the DAI, and you pull back your collateral. But that's just plain boring stuff that only the big boys do out there. The degens obviously want to do something with the DAI straight away, so they use it, for example, to multiply their exposure. So it's leverage-like trading, where they immediately swap the generated DAI for more collateral to go a couple X high. Recently we've also announced Oasis Earn, where you can earn a yield in my opinion, one of the best strategies out there in DeFi at the moment. So if you want to check that out, you can go. I see one of the builders here of the underlying protocol, so that he's very happy that I say that. If you want to check that out, you can do so on oasis.app. And at the moment, what we're building furthermore is additional automation tools to optimize your position. So, for example, we've just yesterday launched a way where your position will be constantly sold to, if the price appreciates, it buys more of your position to increase your position, and if the price depreciates, you sell some of it to save your position, keeping you at a constant multiple, and also, for example, stop loss feature, all decentralized. And we're creating a product also for the yield-seeking investors, so additional ways to earn features, basically, so additional yield features. But there are so many different kind of yields out there, and that's what I'll talk about in the rest of this presentation. One big, it's always cool to see the big billions. Yeah, when we recently crossed the 2 billion mark on our multiply product, that has been launched since September. So thank you all users for using it. So indeed, why talk about unsustainable yields? Well, at the moment that I wrote the application for this presentation, Ohm had just had its boom and bust, and I was just so frustrated that even though that was happening, the next one, for example, KlimaDAO, I don't know how many people are aware of that, that just gained a ton of popularity, and there were so many other forks, and everyone was just, hey, this is the best yield you can get in DeFi. And no one really understood where it came from or what it exactly was. And obviously, more recently, we've had the Let's Fucking Go board announcing that that they will capitalize the Anchor protocol to sustain the yield there. So everyone was still trusting that in February of this year that this would all be very safe. So this was when I was applying for this presentation, and I was like, okay, I sure hope that this will all be all right by the time that I arrive in Paris. And well, what happened is obviously, I think you all know here, but yeah, Luna doesn't exist anymore, basically. And it's so frustrating because it's so much wasted time and energy in the whole space when people keep praising this and yeah, keep building another version of just the same old shit that yeah, in the end doesn't work. And even the very big players, they don't understand the risks at all of these yields. I don't even want to call them yields, but yeah, Celsius literally, this was tweeted after they found the filing, the legal filing where they actually yeeted, they entered the retail savings into Ohm at the top of, yeah, what was it, 1400 or something like that, and it's now worth almost zero. So yeah, that's too bad for everyone who had any money in Celsius. And yeah, this craze is continued with investors putting money in these farms that promise 200+% APYs, and this was so yeah, frustrating to see. But luckily, even the people who first praised Luna, so this was a tweet where a person was like, a step-by-step to earn 20% interest, they finally saw the light. When it all blew up, this is the most important thing about where all this non-sustainable yield comes from. So this same person tweeted, where's the money actually coming from that I've been shilling to my family and my friends that are now losing all of their money? Well, so obviously it comes from inflating the token with a lot of rewards, and people sell those rewards for whatever they want, and hopefully they get a yield by that. But many times the inflation is just so big that it ends up blowing up anyways. So in the case of Luna, there was very little real yield, and it was mainly just a ton of inflation, and same with Ohm, same with Klima, all those products. So what does what makes yield sustainable? And it's very simple. There's just one rule, and the only rule is that sustainable yield is if there are people willing to pay your yield for a product on the other side. It's that simple. There's nothing else. If people are not paying your yield for a product, then it's likely negative sum or just plain Ponzi game. That's it. So that's my presentation. Now I'll go into this a little bit deeper. So what products are people actually willing to pay for? Well, obviously, trading is one of the biggest use cases. People just want to have a different exposure to a different asset, so you can earn a yield by becoming a market maker. That's sustainable for sure. Infrastructure providing and selling block space. If people are willing to pay for having their transactions included, then that can be a sustainable way of yield as well. And the last big chunk is the lending borrowing. That's sustainable as well, as long as there is a use case for doing the lending borrowing, and it's not just lending and borrowing for liquidity mining the underlying token of the lending market, and there's not much real volume going around. So in the case of infrastructure providing, this is mostly at the moment transactions fees for the block space. And does it mean that proof of stake is therefore automatically sustainable? Well, in my opinion, no, because, or the yield there, I must say. In my opinion, no, it really depends on the transaction volume. So as long as your proof of stake system has enough transaction volume to keep, to pay the yields of the people who are doing the infrastructure providing, then the product makes sense. And possibly in the future, other yield sources could be from state rent, when the state gets this high that it needs to be rented, or in the sequencing on layer 2s can also be a possibility then. For lending and borrowing, it's currently in crypto mostly over-collateralized crypto lending and borrowing, and the use case, so this is the actual product that people are using, is just going long and short. For example, in Oasis Multiply, people are fine with paying a yield for going long, because otherwise they can't go long. People are also looking for yield spreads, so if they can borrow some money here and they know that they can lend it out for more somewhere else, that is a product in itself as well. This is basically being the quick money versus the slow money. People also just are willing to pay for lending just to get liquidity, to buy whatever, to buy a house. People just want to live in a house, so people are fine with paying an interest on their mortgage. And that's also where I see the biggest sources of yield in the future in crypto, if we get even more interactions with the real world. So real world asset lending, borrowing, and possibly also the risk assessed under collateralized lending. Projects like TrueFi, if that expands a bit further. Then a speculation of what products some people might be willing to pay for. I think options could be. We've seen a couple of good tries, but I haven't seen any projects at the moment that have reached enough volume. For insurance, I think insurance in general could be a great source of yield, because people want to be insured. However, at the moment, the smart contract risk insurance, in my opinion, doesn't make sense, because it's a bit like a turkey yield, where the turkey is alive the whole time until at some point it's Thanksgiving, and then their beautiful life ends. And the same for smart contract insurance. When you're providing the insurance, when you're underwriting it, then all is good for as long as the smart contract doesn't get hacked. But when it gets hacked, yes, you lose all your principal or whatever. And there are some solutions for it and protocols trying things there, but it looks like turkey yield to me. And then maybe there will be other products that people are willing to pay for, but yeah, if you want to give a yield to your users, you gotta find, okay, what is this product that people are paying for that I am giving yield for to my users. And yeah, lastly, what we've recently seen is that the yields in DeFi have gone down so drastically that now the money markets are offering better rates in traditional finance than in DeFi, whilst it has been the opposite for since the beginning of DeFi. So what this means is, if we want to get some better yields in crypto again, some better sustainable yields in crypto, not just yields that are paid by inflation, then we have to build something people are willing to pay for that solves a job for users. And in my opinion, the biggest opportunity right now is integrating the real world. And that's it. So thank you very much for coming to my talk.
Thank you, Frank.
Yes.
Questions? We've gone a little over time, but this is our last presentation in this room. So let's go ahead and take a question.
Hey, so you recommended that it was like insurance and something else for like the potential of DeFi, and then you had some question marks. So what do you think about GameFi? Do you think that has potential, or as much potential in Web3 as it does in the real world?
Yeah, so if you're thinking about the product there, what kind of, like, let's say you're a staker or something, like you're putting money up for GameFi, what I can see is, and getting a yield on that, where would that yield be coming from? I can see people just paying for products just to progress further or something like that. But yeah, why would people need to put up money for that beforehand? And why would that money from the person who paid for the product necessarily go to the person who provided the money up front? That's a bit unclear to me. So I think there are beautiful business models to be made, but if you can really use it as a yield source, I'm doubting it.
Other questions out there? Okay, thank you again, Frank. And please join.